Hey guys, what's going on? I am back playing Star Citizen Alpha 3.20. In fact, it's my first time playing Star Citizen Alpha 3.20 in the live servers. I took a little break of a couple of weeks to really try Starfield. I'm still playing Starfield, but I want to go back to Star Citizen. I miss Star Citizen too much eventually in the end, right? But, of course, there are some known issues with Star Citizen Alpha 3.20. Not everything goes great. And luckily, Cloud Imperial Games have made an extensive list of all of these problems that players are encountering. There's quite a lot. So, well, this might be a long video. Let's get started right here with gear or equipment looted from NPCs that cannot be equipped after starting a new game session. Now, that's really a bummer because sometimes NPCs really have some really juicy loot. Maybe you guys want to be wearing those Hurston armors, for example, right? Well, unfortunately, that's not really the case. You cannot always do that. So to combat this issue here, Cloud Imperial Games are recommending moving any looted gear to a ship or local inventory before attempted to equip, and then re-equipping it. Apparently, this is the workaround to be able to do so. Ship persistence and vanishing ships. Apparently, here there's a problem right now with ships that cannot be properly delivered or stowed before logout here. So finding an insurance claim will result in the loss of the ship or vehicle unless you retrieve and store it before logging out of the game. New ships purchased with Alpha UEC will need to be delivered and then stowed to ensure it remains available on the next logins. As well as rentals here, they need to be delivered and stowed, otherwise they will not be available at the next login. Now there's also a potential game crash when moving items from local inventory to ship inventory here. When moving items from a local inventory, such as for example, Grimex or Port Olisar to a ship's inventory, there is a chance the game will crash when using Shift plus the left-click key combination to do so. So to avoid this inconvenience here, players can transfer items between inventory locations individually or use the Move All button instead, which is very useful indeed. Now, if you are a Constellation owner, this one might concern you as well, especially regarding Snub Fighter's issue here. The including Snub Fighter, which is either the Archimedes or the Merlin, in certain variants of the Constellation are spawning in vertical position instead of horizontally here. We've seen that quite a bit, actually. I've seen that in Arena Commander too. That's so funny, right? And thus is clipping through the hull of the ship. Apparently, the variants which have this problem are the Phoenix and the Andromeda, resulting in the fighter not being usable, but also makes it difficult to fly the Constellation itself. Right now, there is no workaround, unfortunately, but they have identified a fix, and they will be implemented this fix in a future patch. They do not recommend anyone from using the Constellation Phoenix or the Constellation Andromeda in 3.20 until this has been corrected. Next, default key binding are changed, but default binding image has not been updated, so be aware for this. Some of the changes are, for example, flight ready is right alt plus R. It's not just R anymore. And if you want to cycle configuration here, it is left alt plus K. There's also a little audio issue with the ASUP terminal when you are interacting with the ASUP terminal. Everything within the game and the interface itself indicates the ship was delivered properly, except for audio error that the hangars are full and in use. The aura will state that all the ships are currently in use. Stand by for the next assignment. This is just an audio error. Apparently, you should be ignoring this one. Alright, this error here is about Arena Commander. I have experienced this quite a bit because I'm playing Arena Commander a lot, and so when accepting an Arena Commander invite from another player, if you're already in an active game when accepting the invite, the lobby UI will show an empty lobby. To correct this, just leave and join again. Don't be afraid if the lobby looks like it is empty, but actually is not. Next, we'll talk about the Ballista here. Especially, it has some malfunctioning missiles when using target lock. So when you are attacking using the Anvil Ballista, if the pilot is firing missiles when utilizing the target lock feature, the missile will malfunction. The missiles will instead turn around and hit the Ballista itself or nearby. So to prevent this from happening, do not use the missile target lock feature when firing missiles from the Ballista. That's a bummer because there's Jumpdown happening right now, if I'm correct. And it's very useful to prevent any intruder from coming, and that's basically a defense, an air defense tactic that's going to be lacking for this particular event. Speaking of missiles, missiles fail to charge when the ship is powered on. So when entering missile mode in any ship, the missiles are not charged and thus cannot be fired. The cause has been traced to missiles failing to charge when the ship is initially powered on. To correct this, the missiles can be charged separately after the ship is on. The default key binding for that is you. Exiting into EVA from a pilot seat will result in partial control lost. Oh, this is not a new issue. This one has been happening for quite some time. Every time you exit from the pilot seat and you just spin out of control, or and it's just for a couple of seconds, right? But it's definitely something that CIG are aware of, and they are trying to fix that. AI-controlled enemy lasers penetrate shields, which is not supposed to be happening. Shields are supposed to be protecting from lasers, so right now there's no workaround for this issue, unfortunately. Extreme weather conditions on Lorville affect players while being indoors. It has been observed that going inside while Lorville is actually having some of its extreme weather conditions, such as high winds, does not protect the player from these effects here. When indoors on Lorville, players may still find it difficult to walk if there is extreme weather conditions outside, and sometimes the player's avatar will act as if they are outside in the weather as well, putting their a hand over their faces to protect themselves, which is very ridiculous. Right now, no workaround apart from not going to Lorville perhaps. However, the cause has been found and the fix is also coming in. If you are an Argo raft owner, this can be useful here because you cannot collect refinery orders. When attempting to collect a refinery order, the Argo raft is not showing as an available option here. So they now suggest everybody to collect from a different ship. The Caterpillar hull, if you are a salvager here, well, too bad, because now it's an invalid salvage target. So should a destroyed Drake Caterpillar be encountered in the verse, any attempt to salvage the hull is resulting in invalid material. So right now they have disabled Caterpillars from being included in salvage mission. That's actually pretty bad, because the Caterpillar was one of the best ships for salvage with really a lot of materials in previous patches. I remember having made well over 200,000 Alpha UEC with just one Caterpillar hull, and well, that's I hope that it's going to come back eventually. ATC is sometimes failing to detect ships for cargo unloading. Unfortunately, right now there's no workaround, so well, too bad. An impounded hull C is responding with cargo spindles extended. Ouch, right? So to avoid the situation, if your hull C is impounded for some reason, only retrieve it at Horizon, and this is the only location that will respawn it at a proper docking port, because obviously Horizon is on a gas giant, so there's no ground to ruin your hull C. The hull C, of course, has other issues. For example, during testing phases, the teams of testers have encountered a number of issues that may be affecting the hull C, with range from strange error messages, issues with docking and undocking problems, as well with the cargo loading and unloading, among others. So here the developers are encouraging everybody to report all of those issues in the issue council. The Mercury Star Runner ramp does not extend enough. That's also a problem on high gravity worlds, which makes it unusable, for example, for ground vehicles to enter the ship, but you may not even be able to enter the ship yourself if you are not properly landed too. Client crash around Lorville. This one is another pretty bad one here. Lots of problems with Lorville in this patch, apparently. So again, advice here: do not go to Lorville. Graphic cards typically come with software to help manage driver updates, but for some reason here, if you have not decided to use any of those, then you'll have to go to the website and make sure you have the most recent drivers. Otherwise, you will have maybe a crime crash around Lorville. The Drake Cutlass hatches are not working, especially the red and blue here. The ship can enter in a state where the hatch will not function. More of this occurs when multiple players are trying to use or access the ship, but the fix is coming in a future updates. Next, we're going to talk about some server errors here. Error 19,000 and error 40,000 as well. So for the error 19,000 here, which prevents you from entering the game, that's simple. Here the developers are strongly suggesting that you are using the character repair tool to also help resolving the unstowed error. Error 40,000 though, there's more and more of those as well. Unfortunately, these also prevent players from entering the game. They are tracking down and looking for a solution right now with possible workarounds too. If you encounter this error, again, put that in the issue Council 2. There are also issues with shuttles, train, trams, and elevators. So all of those here, for example, they can be flickering, they can be jittery. Sometimes shuttles are not arriving on time. These are old errors, and unfortunately, the developers are having a hard time trying to fix. Party members become invisible. If players are together in a party or are forced to respawn at the same locations, reported that some of the party members can not see one another inside their own ships. Should this error occur, well, you can leave the game instance and come back, and this should fix it. The cargo sometimes is invisible as well. The cargo can still be transported and sold normally, it's just that it's not being seen, and that's also a problem. The game launcher sometimes has issues after a server crash, so here we recommend everybody to fully exit the game and then come back to fix the problem. And finally here, select system menu is empty, so in rare cases the option to select a system to begin playing is totally missing from the game's menu screen. So if this happens here, again, close the game and the RSI launcher, wait for a few minutes before restarting the application. Usually this happens to me when I have a 30k error. Let me know in the comment section down below also if this happened to you and how do you fix the issue. Anyway, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that it was helpful for you if you're encountering any of these situations in Star Citizen Alpha 3.20. Thank you so much to Dr. Frobin, Zero Crusher, and Deplorable Fidel for supporting this channel. If you too want to help out the channel, the link to my Patreon will be in the description down below. Any help out there is very much appreciated. We'll have our giveaway video coming up really soon. I think I'll combine it with the roadmap update, so be on the lookout for this one too. See if you are the winner of a Drake Vulture, and I will see you guys in the next one.